This is Jeff Stone of Grandpa's Fried Barbecue from the Panhandle of Florida, and you are listening to the Barbecue Central Show.
Start the game! Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Good evening and welcome to the Really Big Barbecues. This is the show that talks about all things that are important to the world of barbecue and grilling. The show originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city, Bomb City, USA, Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I'm your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evenings, a live fire fun and frivolity show. If you would like to get in contact with the show this evening, or you would like to follow the show during off-show hours, here's how you do all that.
You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to Greg at BBQCentralShow.com. Follow us on all the social media channels at BBQ Central Show. And be sure to subscribe to the show podcast feed on your favorite podcast platform.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you get the newsletter, which you can sign up for on the main page of the website now, as I showed you a couple weeks ago. So if you haven't done so already, please sign up for the show newsletter around 5 p.m. Eastern. You will get a heads up on what's happening in the show later that evening, and that's typically all you will ever find from a newsletter from here on this show. Every once in a while, great deal I got to tell you about, but so far and few between. It's usually just the one at 5, and then you get a reminder email right before 9 p.m. Eastern that the show's starting. If you care to tune in live, otherwise you can just go ahead and do it on podcast like most of you do anyway. So here's what's happening in case you get that newsletter. 14 minutes past the first hour, we'll find a quarterly visit from barbecue icon Stephen Raichlen of Barbecue Bible fame, Project Smoke, Project Fire, Planet Smoke, everything that's live fire. Stephen's a part of it or researching it or traveling a trail that has it amongst it. And we'll catch up with him here in a few. 35 past the first hour, a monthly visit from the chief correspondent of barbecue business and creator of cookoutnews.com, Wes Wright. Plenty of new things to talk about. When Wes shows up 35 past the first hour, that'll bring a close to the first hour. Then we will move to the second hour. We will find a quarterly visit from the creator of the Hey Grill Hey brand, a media maven in her own right, recipe creator extraordinaire, Susie Bulloch. There could be a Triple T site. In fact, I was emailing with aforementioned Triple T, and he said, we will be there. Now, the last time we will be there, it was Susie, which is fine. She's the draw, of course. But I love me some Triple T. And he was busy doing another podcast or being a guest on another podcast or something along those lines, if my memory serves me correctly. They missed the first appearance in 2025. So this would have been, as the year was closing, 2024. So, excited to catch up with the Bullocks. We have some open time after them. Plenty to talk about. I've had an executive physical yesterday. I'll talk about that. Have some other things to talk about as well. So, whatever free time we have left after Susie and Todd, we'll roll into some housekeeping items. Don't forget, you can follow me socially, Instagram, the X, the Ticker Talks, the Snappy Snaps, and the LinkedIns, all with the handle at BBQ Central Show. And, of course, we say good evening to those of you watching tonight through one of our video streaming platforms. You can go to facebook.com/BBQ Central Show, or you can watch through YouTube, which is youtube.com/@BBQ Central Show, where we have a new YouTube poll question of the week, and we're asking everybody this, including all guests. Did you know that both Memphis in May and Smoke Slam happened this past weekend? And currently, 67% of you are saying yes. I almost missed it, and then, of course, everybody was telling me that they were going down to Memphis in May starting Wednesday, Thursday of last week, not to exclude our pal Matt Osmond from Tennessee, embedded correspondent. And then, because phones listen, everything smart in your house listens, the feed starts populating with what's happening down in Memphis, blah, blah, blah. So you could miss it by the end of the weekend. Results of the poll question from last week. You think Brad Leiniger will make it into the 2025 Barbecue Hall of Fame? Believe it or not, it ended up being a 50-50.
Hey, I trouble you for a
Oh, yeah, Maggie. 50-50. The first time we have ended officially at deadlock, which makes my day. I love everything about 50-50. 50-50. Anybody place that? I know my friend Jason Kaplan could. All right, we'll start here tonight, and I don't usually start with barbecue competition talk, but I will this week. I want to congratulate the overall grand champion of Smoke Slam, $50,000 for winning that title. Robbie Royal from Team Rescue Smokers. They also won the pulled pork category. Winning that category gets you $15,000. They also took fourth place overall in ribs. Coming in fourth place overall in ribs and Smoke Slam gets you $7,500. I'm no mathematician, but let's go ahead and quickly do the math here. 50 plus 15 is 65, and 7,500 is 7,250 for the weekend if you need them. Superior take. By the way, Smoke Slam saw a 35% increase in teams over the inaugural event last year. So that event seems to be continuing to grow and get interest from teams who want to show off their cooking skills and also have a shot at winning what could be on the precipice, and I don't use these terms lightly, a fuck ton of money at a barbecue competition. 72.5. I think that's actually less than the team that won it last year. I don't even know. Who cares what the name of the team was last year? I think they won more than that, if I'm not mistaken. I think they won 2 categories. But winning overall gets you 50. Winning a category gets you 15. And fourth place gets you 7,500. That's more than some overall purses are in KCBS these days. Also, across town, Memphis in May took place. Walking away with the overall grand championship this year is Heath Riles of Heath Riles Barbecue. I have reached out to Heath to try to put a segment together here in the next few weeks, so we'll see how that works out. However, if you watch Memphis in May and you see who's been getting to the finals the past few years, Heath has been right there a number of times, winning the ribs category, I believe 3 out of the last 5 years or 3 out of the last 4 years. It's been a number in a short period of time. And in 2025, as it did in 2023, ribs takes the overall grand championship. Perhaps there is a ribs trend building at Memphis in May winning grand championship, because until the past 3 years, ribs hadn't won grand champion in a long time, like 22 years. And now it's hitting 2 out of the last 3. So congratulations to Heath and the whole team over at Heath Riles Barbecue. Sorry for the senior moment. Now, we have to see who's going to show up potentially for a post-event recap. I mean, the team is huge. Dare I say extensive. Friend of show, Bob Trudnak, happens to be a part of that world championship winning team now. So glad to see ribs starting to take the overall win again at Memphis in May. Again, long-time drought before 2 years ago, and now 2 out of the last 3 years you have Ribs winning. I'll keep you updated on the segment with Heath Hall as, Heath Hall. You like that blast from the past, everybody? Is Heath Hall even still, does he even still in barbecue anymore? You remember Pork Barrel Barbecue, Heath Hall, one of the guys there. Heath Riles is what I'm talking about. So keep you updated on the Heath Riles potential interview, everybody. All right, Stephen Raichlen is in the green room. I'll get my mental faculties together. But before I do that, and before we get to Stephen, I'll talk to you about Pits and Spits. If you're serious about your grilling game, then you need to check out my pals over at Pits and Spits. Let's kick things off with the Pits and Spits Griddle. Gas top griddle combines the power of a traditional grill with the versatility of a flat top griddle. Engineered with precision and crafted from top quality materials, this versatile griddle set to revolutionize your outdoor cooking experience. Constructed a 304 marine grade stainless steel and a fully welded design, the grill comes with 4 burners to accurately manage your heat zones and gets blistering hot with 80,000 BTUs. Made with that Pits and Spits signature quality, griddle is designed to last for generations. Now, for those of you building your ultimate outdoor kitchen, you have to check out the built-in pellet grill, designed for the discerning grill master who demands top-tier performance. This grill, the centerpiece of any serious outdoor kitchen. From low and slow smoking to a high heat searing, this grill can handle it all. Brisket, ribs, pizzas, veggies, you name it, this grill can cook it. And with the Pits and Spits legendary craftsmanship, you can be confident it's built to last. With stainless steel construction and a design that's as reliable as it is versatile. So, are you ready to take your cooking to the next level? Head on over to pitsandspits.com/BBQ Central and use promo code BBQ Central at checkout for a free spice pack with orders over $500 or more. Again, the website all spelled out, all those letters, pitsandspits.com with the double T on the pits and the spits.com/BBQ Central, and then promo code BBQ Central at checkout for a free spice pack with orders over $500. Easy to do on that website. It's quality. Last generations, your kids are fighting over it. You'll be dead. And laughing a little bit in the grave, knowing that your kids are fighting over your Pits and Spits cooker, whatever it is you get. How about some Stephen Raichlen coming up? Stand by.
You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Broadcasting live from the BBQ Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Fireboard, makers of Fireboard 2, Fireboard Pro, Fireboard Spark, Fireboard Beacon, and the wireless Fireboard Pulse. When you use the Fireboard app, you have total access to all devices anywhere in the world as long as there's a connection. Find out more by visiting fireboard.com or call them with questions at 816-945-2232. Talk to Ted Conrad today and Ryan DeBoro, by the way, from Pittsburgh, lining up both of those gents for future interviews here sooner than later. My first guest tonight, an icon in the industry, perhaps the icon in the industry. Host of TV shows, author of books, teachers at Barbecue University, and winners of James Beard Awards. Quarterly guest and my pal, and not yours, Stephen Raichlen. Hey, Steve.
How you doing? Good to see you.
We have a YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, including all guests. You're a guest, so we'll ask you, of course, leading off the show. Did you know that Memphis in May and Smoke Slam happened this past weekend?
You know, it kind of escaped me.
Oh, Wow. All right. Well, it's escaped also 43% of the YouTube Barbecue Central show voting public. So that's quite a bit more than I thought. It was almost snuck up on me as well. The thing that I'm convinced about, we talked a little bit about technology earlier in the morning. I'm going to wrap it back around to a little bit more technology. I think every smart device in your house, speaker, phone, tablet, you name it, constantly on the passive listen. So I must have said something about Memphis in May, or I might have even thought it out loud in silence. And one of those devices heard it, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's populating in my Instagram feed, in my Twitter feed, in my Facebook page. And all of a sudden, I didn't forget that Memphis in May was going on, but I didn't really remember it until about Thursday, until my feed started populating. So are you worried about speaking out loud in your own home anymore?
Absolutely. Yeah, we unplug our Alexas except in case of emergency.
Really?
But it is kind of a coincidence, you go into a store with your iPhone in your pocket, and all of a sudden you start receiving all these ads for merchandise at the store. No, I think we surrendered our privacy a long time ago.
So it's cookbook season, Stephen, and of course, you're the most prolific live fire cookbook author out there, so you know what it's all about. Last time you were on, we talked about the impending release and finishing of something called Project Griddle, which has now been released. So what are you hearing in regards to it being received in the book market?
I'm hearing great things about it. By the way, I just happen to have a copy right here. So
looking good as always.
I'll show it off to everybody. It was so interesting listening to the ad right before I came on about the Pits and Spits griddle. It seems like all the manufacturers are getting into griddles. Griddles are, look, first of all, I want to reassure your listeners and you, I am not turning my back on barbecue. I'm still, I've got umpteen million grills. I fire them up every day. But there are a lot of things a griddle can do that a grill can't. So I see them as partners, companions, not competitors.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because it'll be a month ago next week for the monthly embedded correspondence, and one of my 100% assurity questions, and I know assurity isn't a word, but I made it up, 100% assurity question was, do you think that we have reached the end of the griddle fascination? Or, I mean, they've just shot in a meteoric rise over the last, let's say, 5 or 6 years, maybe even a little bit longer than that. Do you think we're tailing on that fad or that hype, or no?
Honestly, I think we're just getting started. And, when I started in this business, which was admittedly a long time ago, the grill was not a regular part of our lives. Okay. We grilled on special occasions. Now the grill is an extension of our kitchen. We use it 4 or 5 nights a week. I think the same thing is happening with the griddle, going to happen with the griddle. It's just going to become an extension of our kitchen and just another way that we do great outdoor cooking.
Typically, when you're writing a book, you are traveling a trail of some sort. Was there an existing griddle trail where you were able to knock down?
Well, there certainly was, starting with Spain, where the plancha is the cooking device par excellence. And even guys like mega superstar chef and humanitarian Jose Andres from Spain got his start working the griddle at a seaside restaurant on the coast of Spain. That's sort of like being a short order cook. I went to Japan, where teppanyaki, cooking on a griddle, popularized in the States by Benihana, but it's still extremely popular in Japan. In fact, what got me writing this book, I scored one of those A5 Wagyu steaks, super generously marbled, amazing. If you tried to grill that, it would just catch on fire. So I did it on a griddle the way I'd seen it done in Japan on a teppan. It was amazing. So that was kind of my entryway. But to continue our circuit, the griddle at your local Greasy Spoon or diner in the United States, the Piastra in Italy, the Champa in Argentina. I mean, you find griddling literally all over the world.
I guess I don't even make that connection until you're just talking about it out loud, that you go to the diner and, of course, you're cooking short order on a flat top. I mean, that's it, right?
Yeah. That's the beating heart of the diner. And I mean, everything from a Philly cheesesteak to a smash burger to hash browns, eggs over easy. They wouldn't exist without the griddle.
The biggest complaint that I hear about a griddle from people is, it's fine. However, you cook 2 or 3 things on it. Why do I need it if I'm only going to be cooking 2 or 3 things on it? How do people work on expanding what they can cook?
Well, obviously, the first thing is to buy Project Griddle, where I have over 100 recipes, everything from breakfast and appetizers to desserts on the griddle.
Mhm.
I actually have developed, there's no one method of griddling, and I've developed a half a dozen different techniques, including my friend smoking on a griddle. So I have a recipe for smoked barbecue chicken on the griddle with Alabama white sauce. Really proud of it. You can steam griddle, you can stir griddle. I love the divide and conquer method, where if you're cooking a really thick sandwich like a New Orleans muffaletta, you break it in half, you cook the halves. And the advantage of that, you do it on parchment paper. You put the cold cuts upside down so they get crisp, which you don't even get in a real muffaletta. So I would argue that a griddle is actually better for cooking a lot of dishes.
What's the best part about griddling?
Well, I mean, for me, first of all, it's the flavor, because it's always the flavor. It's the versatility. It's big. You can cook a lot of food on it.
Yeah.
It's easy. You can fire it up in 5 minutes, 3 minutes, really. It's super easy to clean. It just gets better and better seasoned every time you use it. I don't want to praise its virtues too much for fear that people will think I'm abandoning the grill, because the grill is fantastic too. But it's really quite amazing what you can do on a griddle.
Have we become snobs to a certain degree here in 2025, where if we spend a segment and you were just revering the griddle, that you think there would be backlash? I say this in a loaded sense because last week I had Michael Simon on. We were talking about whatever cookbook he had that has just recently been released. I want to say he took a shit on gas grills, but he was in a squatting position. Everything appeared to be going in that way. Might have stopped short. And I'm thinking to myself, I get where he's coming from. Like, don't be afraid of coals. The boost of flavor that you can get over charcoal versus just a gas grill burner is different and unique. I get all of that. But I don't know if we should be trying to say one is better than the other. If you have access to only a gas grill or only a griddle and that's what you have to use, then go at your culinary imagination's best and do everything that you possibly can. And if you can add something down the road, fine. But I don't know if we want to get to a point where we're looking down on somebody because they like griddling or they like gas grilling only.
I do not look down on gas grillers. I own gas grills. I use them. However, I prefer charcoal, and even more than that, I prefer grilling over wood. All of these things are cooperative. All of them help make you a better cook and help you feed your family and friends better. And that's really what it's all about.
Is a smash burger the best burger?
No, a smash burger is just a special kind of burger. I mean, and by the way, people think a smash burger, like the whole point of it is it's thin and you put 2 of them on a bun. The whole point of a smash burger, if you do it right, is the edges of the burger fry and crisp.
Yep.
So that when you bite into a smash burger, you get a crunch, which you don't get on a conventional burger. So that is a beautiful thing. But, a big, thick, juicy burger, cheeseburger, inside out cheeseburger, which is one of my favorites, where you grate the cheese and put it on the inside of the burger, which is a great way to keep a burger moist, even if you cook it to the safe temperature of 160 degrees. They're all different. I hate this sort of one is better than the other, whether it's a grill, whether it's a burger, whether it's a dish. They all make our lives richer.
In an effort to sound like a complete hypocrite, After I just got done on my soapbox about not looking down on people that use gas grills. Smash burgers are the best burgers. Oh, my God, they're so good. I was late to the game. I cook them all the time now, and I don't want any other burger. In fact, I will go to restaurants that serve smash burger. You know what is a little disheartening? When you go to the restaurant and they say smash burger on the menu, but they really come out and it's, let's say, a light press at best. I feel like I've been sold a bill of goods. Do you feel, we're just speculating, do you think the restaurant is a little scared to go full bore smash burger, or do you think that there's just a bit of ignorance?
I think it's a little bit of both. Although I mean, a
yeah.
proper smash burger is labor intensive, right? You got to start with a hot griddle. You got to cook it long enough to get the grease on the outside. You got to smash it really hard. You got to pay attention to it. So if you're trying to turn out 50 burgers in 20 minutes, that's hard to do. Hard to do it right.
Would love to go to George Motz's Burger America out there in New York City and watch him work that flat top. I bet it's. Have you been by chance?
I haven't, but I'm actually heading to New York next month, and that is on my destination list.
All right, so we'll get a full report from you next time you're on, as far as what George Motz is putting down there.
I mean, also, we're talking smash burgers, but one of the best things about a griddle is fish, and especially delicate fish like snapper or gray sole or flounder. Fish. These are fish that are too delicate to cook on a grill, but on a griddle, they're fantastic. So. Any rate, I've, now I'm going to come down off my soapbox because I think I've made the point how much I love griddles. And I think if you check out Project Griddle, you'll find newfound respect for them too.
Available where, of course, books are sold or Amazon.com or wherever you like. Plenty of other live fire books out this year. Are there any that have caught your eye in particular this season?
Well, Meathead's the Meathead Method. I have great respect for Meathead. He's a great writer, a serious thinker, a conscientious scientist, and that book is full of wisdom. So I like that one a lot.
As somebody who has been achieving of this metric New York Times bestseller, can you explain to me what that actually means and how you get it?
Yeah, actually, so there is an undisclosed number of bookstores around the country, and some of them are independents, and some of them are outlets of chain stores, and they report back to the New York Times on which books are selling the best. The New York Times tabulates those results and comes up with the bestseller list. Now, obviously, they don't disclose what those individual stores are, because if we knew them, we'd send our friends in to buy a zillion copies, and then we would become bestsellers. So it's kept quite secret, but it's as simple as that.
Let's also mention that in less than 4 months, if I'm not mistaken, the 2025 version of BBQ University takes place at the Alisal Ranch in, is it Solvang, California, or Solvang, California?
Solvang, yeah, Solvang, California. Yep.
September 2nd through the 5th.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. And also, I'd sort of lost track of time myself, but this is the 25th anniversary of BBQ University.
Really?
So I know. It's amazing. Yeah,
Holy
we started
crap.
at the Greenbrier, and then we moved
Yeah.
to Colorado Springs at the Broadmoor, and then we were down at Montage Palmetto Bluff in South Carolina, and now we're out at the most beautiful property of all, Alisal Ranch, 10,000 acres, 125 horses, 40 grills and smokers, outdoor classroom, as it were, and you get to eat the fruits of your studies. And we always like to say about BBQ University, the only marks you get are grill marks.
What's on the agenda? And if somebody's going to be signing up as a enrollee, should we expect it to be a little more griddle forward this year, considering the book release?
Yes, we have a lot of griddles. We brought in a lot of griddles last year. We will be griddle forward, but we will also be working with smokers. I always have to do a brisket of some sort, right? Because I want people to walk away with that. Always do a pork shoulder of sorts. We always do ribs. This year we're going to be doing lamb ribs because I am really tripping on lamb ribs.
Love that.
This year. That's great. a lot of griddle fare. Everything from breakfast to dinner to dessert on the grill.
When you aren't in class, like you, Stephen Raichlen, what are you typically doing when you're not conducting class?
Well, writing takes up most of my time, and writer is what's on my passport. So, while I do make television and teach and do a million public speaking, a lot of other activities, writing is really the core of what I do. Believe it or not, I'm actually working on a memoir. Sort of how a kid from Baltimore with a degree in French literature became, the global grilling authority. So that's occupying most of my time. Also working on a book for 2027, because that's how far we think ahead, called Barbecue University, and it'll really be the best. It'll be a teaching book, best recipes and best techniques and teaching lessons from Barbecue University.
I noticed that you were at the HPB Expo in New Orleans a month or so ago. Is this the first time you've attended the HPB Expo, or have you been many times?
Oh, no. I've been there many times. First time in a while, but I used to go every year.
You could pick only one place to eat in New Orleans. Where are you going?
Oh boy, that's a toughie. So there's a place called Nola Dakar, and it is a fusion of Senegalese cuisine and New Orleans cuisine. And it was a really interesting food menu. So that's, I think, where I would send people.
Where would I find the best Sazerac?
Well, there's a bar called Sazerac. That'd be a pretty good place to start. And they also they've got a great jazz program. But it's sort of hard to find a bad Sazerac in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm. I would imagine, since it's kind of.
And by the way, my last Café du Monde, which is the famous breakfast place for beignets and Café au lait, they have a branch at the airport, so that made a very nice arrival and departure. And I bought a couple cans of their coffee, and I'm like totally hooked on that coffee now. The coffee with chicory.
Is that the first time you've had it?
Oh no, a zillion times.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I kind of used to think to myself, I'll drink that when I'm new in New Orleans, and when I'm home, I'll do my little espresso. But I've just really been enjoying that lately.
Go to Memorial Day recipe for Stephen Raichlen, since it's Monday.
Well, heretical as it sounds, they're going to be lamb ribs, because I really love lamb ribs.
Yeah.
I've been playing around I'm writing the side dish chapter of the Barbecue University book. So I've been playing around with how to take the 3 classic American side dishes, which are mac and cheese, coleslaw, and baked beans, and how to give them a college education. Okay. So for the coleslaw, what we're going to do this year, I'm going to cut the coleslaw into wedges. I'm going to char it over a wood burning grill, then slice it, then make the coleslaw.
Wow.
In terms of what I'm doing to the mac and cheese and what I'm doing to the baked beans, well, you have to go to barbecuebible.com and find that out.
All right, fair enough. This is Stephen Raichlen. You can find him at barbecuebible.com, which is where you should be going to get those other 2 recipes that he was just talking about. Stephen, always appreciate the time. Have a great Memorial Day, and we'll talk to you in a few months. Thank you so much to you too. You always ask great questions, and grill on. All right. Stephen Raichlen right there. Yikes. Get on the microphone. Where? Well, it's right there. Put on the headphones.
I sound sick.
Let's have it.
Here.
Right there.
Oh. Wait, don't put me on the camera.
You're not on the camera.
Okay.
What do we have here?
We have the GQ barbecue t-shirt.
All right.
Woo-hoo! Yep. I went there. Oh, this is Maddie, by the way.
Yeah.
I was in the great state of Colorado from Friday to today.
Yes.
And on Friday night, on our way to the hotel.
Yes.
We went to GQ barbecue.
Oh, shit.
We did.
How was it? 1 out of 10.
I would rate everything. I would give it a 9.
9.
Everything was good. My
Almost
sandwich
perfect.
was good. The brisket was good. The pork was good.
Yes.
I even tried the barbecue sauces. They were all good.
Wow.
I liked the spicy one. The cheese fries were good. The mac and cheese was good.
Wow.
And also,
A lot of
he
good.
makes his own ice cream.
That's right. Well, he's kind of has a on the sly ice cream empire.
Yeah. Made with milk from Colorado cows specifically. And he gave me the whole rundown on why it's Colorado cows.
Because they're in Colorado.
Well, he got milk now. Yes, but he got milk from 6 different towns, I
Yes.
believe. And the one that he thought was the best is in Colorado.
Huh.
So that's what he uses to make the cows.
An
the ice cream.
official Colorado embedded correspondent Dennis Busso had GQ barbecue last night. How about that?
Mm-hmm. I got a t-shirt too.
Dennis, which one did you go to? Did you go to Thornton? That one's a wagon from what I heard.
It was pretty, it was
The
nice.
wagon? Yeah, all right.
It was nice, and it was busy. The line was very long when we got there.
Wow.
But it moved very fast.
All right, so don't be discouraged if you show up and there's a long line. They'll move you through expeditiously. And delicious morsels waiting for your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So I hear. I'll have to go out my own
Very good.
someday. All right. Well, thanks for bringing the shirt down, man.
You're welcome.
All right. God bless. That's Maddie right there. Sorry, didn't mean to drum roll again. Whoop. So I'll do a costume change, obviously, when we're in between segments here. Don't worry, Wes. I'll turn the camera off when I do the costume change. Hey, Primo Grills continues to be a sponsor of this show, which we love, offering you the real ability to do true two-zone cooking. Best way to manage a fire, the best way to cook with confidence. As we all know, getting a two-zone fire in a round ceramic cooker isn't very realistic. Why? Because it's round. Enter Primo. And the game-changing oval design, the shape gives you the ability to execute that two-zone setup that you desire. Also, giving you other ceramic grill benefits as well, like fuel miserness. That's also not a word. Really, when you break it down, there's more than 60 different ways to configure the Primo, so you're only limited by your culinary imagination. Lots of accessories as well, only sold through dealers. Find one near you. Go to primogrill.com. That's primogrill.com. And find a dealer nearest you. Touch those ovals. Then take the best one home. And don't bite down because you're a cheap ass. Bone out a little bit. Nobody was ever disappointed because they bought too big of a grill. Everybody disappointed when they go, I think my grill's big enough. Should have bought up. Remember me? Should have bought up. All right, we're back with Wes Wright. Stick around. We'll be right
You're
back.
listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
All right, we thank Stephen Raichlen for joining us last segment. This portion of the show being brought to you by Pit Barrel Cooker. The most unbelievable outdoor cooking device on the planet, currently available in 3 sizes and a host of accessories. It's for beginners and professionals alike. Visit pitbarrelcooker.com and tell them I sent you personally. Me, R-E-M-P-E, Rempe. My next guest tonight runs the cookoutnews.com website, and he's here on his monthly appearance on the Barbecue Central Show, where we talk about the business of the live fire industry. A multiple-time Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame nominee, Wes Wright, joining us on the show. Wes, we have a YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, including all guests. So we're going to ask you, number 2, did you know that both Memphis in May and Smoke Slam happened this past weekend?
I knew Memphis in May did. I didn't know. I didn't know Smoke Slam did.
Okay. Of course, you would know that with the invention of Smoke Slam, those two went directly head-to-head starting last year with the sole purpose, Smoke Slam, going head-to-head, same weekend, on purpose, that Memphis in May has gone. You would also perhaps remember that Memphis in May moved out of Tom Lee Park, and Smoke Slam moved into Tom Lee Park with a little extra you-know-what. By the way, I feel like Ariana Grande. I did a costume change in the break and dropped my GQ T-shirt on that Maddie brought me down. You like this?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Very nice.
I didn't see any changing, too. You spared me from that.
Yeah, that's right. I originally had this on, the Smoke Shop T-shirt. I might have turned it inside out on the way. Yeah. The Smoke Shop T-shirt from Andy Husbands, who I think just opened up yet another smoke shop out there in the New England area. Let's call it Maine or wherever the hell Boston is. So lots of things to get to here, Wes. Not to bore you with my clothes changing and Smoke Slam talk. Weber and Blackstone finally close it down. Anything you've heard about it since the deal has been officially finalized?
No, I haven't heard any new news. It's just been, the same stuff. Roger took over as CEO as planned, and, they're off to the races. We'll see what happens next there. Have you heard anything since then?
I've just been feverishly corresponding with my best friend, Roger Daly, new CEO of Weber, saying, when do you think you might come on the show? Or before that, it was, hey, I heard everything closed. Can you confirm or deny? Yes, you have really good sources. Everything's closed. So he wants about a month in the new position before he comes on the show to talk all about it. I'm not sure exactly what he's going to be able to give us from a details standpoint, but you'll be the first one that I tell, so you can use your pad and pen to take copious notes and then put a story on cookoutnews.com after the fact. Here's what I said during the Embedded Correspondent last month. I don't have the sound to replay it, but I'll paraphrase it. The preseason griddle top that Weber came out with, easily the best innovation in the history of outdoor freestanding griddles. Yes or no?
The biggest, that's tricky. I don't know, because I haven't used it. You said you said it's great, so I don't know that's the best innovation.
Okay, well, guess what? You're wrong. It is the best. I used it again this past weekend. I mean, I don't know how indestructible a tank really is, but it appears that part of this preseason recipe was a 4th cup tank, because there is 0.0, like my grade point in high school, 0.0 rust, not even surface rust, not even a hint of rust, not even a weep of rust on that griddle top. And I have, short of just like letting water run on it and throwing heaps of salt on it because I'm a dick, it's not even big. It doesn't even fear rust at all. It's just rebuffing it at every turn. It's got to be the best innovation perhaps ever in the history of live fire. Better than the flame or wood.
Wow. At least you're measured in your superlatives there. But have you tried not to knock that, because I do think it looks really cool. Like I said, I haven't tried it, but going off your recommendation and just looking at it, it looks really nice. And that is, a pain point for sure. Have you tried any of, like, they're, kind of not as well known. They're originally a French company. They're in Canada too. They have a enameled cast iron cooktop for a griddle. So you can use metal utensils on it, and it's a griddle top, but it's just like an enameled cast iron pan, but it, they even had it at the HPB Expo with like a thing of steel wool there that you could use on it to show that it wouldn't chip. So
who's the company?
It's called Eno, E-N-O.
Oh,
They've been around for like ever, but they're just not well known in the States. They're known in France.
France. Ah, yes, my favorite
Yeah.
country. And this will not chip, because I remember when Weber, like the biggest thing when I first got into live fires, especially doing the podcast thing, was that you bought a Weber grill Summit or a Genesis, and it had the porcelain coated cast iron grill grates, which I thought were just the balls. But then it was like, well, don't use a regular brush on it. You can take the porcelain coating right off, but not a issue with this.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, I asked the guy, and like I said, they had demonstration there that if you could use metal utensils, because I've used nonstick griddle tops. I had nonstick griddle before as well, and I like using metal utensils, and I'm kind of rough anyways, so it always scared me that I was just gonna obliterate that coating. But it's a lot stronger than anything else. So, it's just maybe it's the greatest thing since fire was invented. I don't know.
Do you think that Eno is going to be on the way into the USA with this?
I know they have plans to. I've talked to a guy there that is extremely passionate about the brand, and they're working on getting distribution and moving to the US. So I'd be eager to see what it's all about.
Green Mountain Grill Ledge Prime 2.0. What do we like about it?
Yeah, I've been testing that for couple 2-3 months. One, I really liked, and one thing I noticed when I was putting it together is every little detail that I've used on other pellet grills where I was like, oh, I wish they did this differently. I felt like Green Mountain Grills, they designed it to fix that. Like, I hate for temperature probes when they put like the rubber grommet in and other grills, and that like pops off and tears. Here it was like a hinged design, so it was just metal that wouldn't fall apart. They had a light inside the cook box, which is essential for me because I cook year round, and I hate wearing like a miner's light on my head or setting up lights. So I love that. It was really smoky. I love the physical buttons on it, and they have I've used some of them, and I'm have more coming on the way, but I don't think you can beat their accessories. They have a rotisserie, that side burner, that pizza oven that actually, like, it's not just a hood with a pizza stone on your grill grates. It actually has like ducting into your fire pot. So it's really cool. Plus it just seems smokier than other pellet grills I used.
Is that at the lower temperatures or just traditionally at any temperature?
At any temperatures. I mean, that thing, it gets up to 550, and even at 550, which is pretty clean burning there, but there would be some smoke. My eyes would know when I would open the lid. So
what do you think viability of Green Mountain Grills is in the next 2 to 5 years?
I'm not sure. I think the jury's still out there. I think they have a good network of dealers as long as they can kind of keep what they're doing, and you're going to get some fallout with all the tariffs, whether whatever's happening there throughout the summer. I think it'll just be about weathering the storm and seeing how well capitalized they are to be able to maintain that.
What are you seeing from a tariff standpoint just across the board?
Traeger announced yesterday that they're going to lay off people, and they're restructuring. 80% of their grills are made in China, so that's a problem. So they have a whole, one, they raise prices, and then they're doing all sorts of cost-cutting measures. Weber raised prices too, pretty much across the board on everything imported, and then even their locally produced grills, have globally sourced parts, so some of those got a price increase. Solo Stove got, I think, delisted since we talked last. So and that's all from tariff fallout. That's squarely what it's from.
All right, so you broached the subject. They were on my topic list, the Solo Stove. They're coming to market with a new cooler that is also an air conditioner. Why would I care about that?
Yeah, so they bought Icy Breeze about a year and a half ago.
Wow.
That company that they bought them for, I think, $30 million. Then kind of out of nowhere, last fall they killed the brand. They said that the product wasn't good enough to meet like Solo Stove standards, and they killed the brand, and they promised they'd come out with a new cooler. And so this is their new cooler using that intellectual property that they, purchased from Icy Breeze. But I don't know if you're outside at like, sporting events and, for your kids or something like that, nice breeze would feel good.
What standards does Solo Stove have these days? I mean, their stock is literally trading at sub 10 cents a share.
Yeah, well, it's delisted, so it's stuck there until they apply to get it back listed again. But it's a lot of their products have good design. I've used a whole bunch of them. I have most of their catalog, I'd say. Yeah, I like what they bring to the table, and what they brought, it's a lot more refined looking. I thought the Icy Breeze looked kind of cheap with, like the plastic used on the ducting, the cooler looked cheap. This looks a lot nicer. And it has some neat features too. It has like a portable power pack that goes into it that you can also run like USB devices, and it also has a mister too to keep you cool. So it has some nice little features that the other product didn't have. But speaking of stock prices, do you think Traeger has traded down to like $1.28 over the past 3 months? I want to say was their low.
Yep.
Do you think they get below $1 and get a notice of delisting?
I mean, we're probably tippy-toeing on that fine line at this point. I mean, I know the last time I brought up what is the biggest joke on Live Fire right now, Solo Stove, and John Solberg was quick to say, well, if we're going to shit on Solo Stove for being sub $1, then we're going to have to be quick to go take a dump on Traeger because they're not too far behind. I keep thinking that they're going to start trending up. I don't know what that means, but at least not into the penny stock world. But this just goes to show what kind of finance major I was in high school and in college. Not a very good one because they're trending down and not trending up. So it certainly wouldn't surprise me. And what does that do? What does that do to Traeger then? If they get delisted, then do people get fired? Do people run away? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, I think they would fight tooth and nail to stay listed through whatever they have to do, but it makes it hard to access capital for the brand. Both one, you don't have as much equity that's liquid, and then also just to get debt, it's harder when you're not publicly traded. So, I think they'd fight their hardest to stay listed, but with all the tariff stuff, some bad news on that front, and it could easily make them drop significantly.
Are you surprised they hadn't sold before this?
I'm not sure who they would sell to, I guess.
But isn't that the model of this? Like, they come in, you run it for 4 or 5 years, you sell, which I think they did, and then you do it for another 4 or 5 years, sell again. It seems like they missed that second sell.
Yeah, well, when you're private, that's definitely the plan. When you're public, I think, originally before the whole market kind of tanked for grills, they wanted to be a legitimate brand and keep growing, and pellet grills only have single digit share of the overall grill market, so I think their plan is keep growing. Weather
strong cabinet line, should I care, and if so, why?
Yeah, I think it's one, speaking of tariffs, they're made in Florida, so there's that plus that, on a cost basis, it's not going to change. But I think it's neat, especially if you're in outdoor kitchens or you have a business that sells them, that they're flat packed cabinets, right? So you can, if you have a place that's hard to get to, rather like in your backyard, that's rather than carrying a fully made cabinet back there, you can bring it flat packed and put it together, and you can get pretty good. I've had some great quality with flat pack cabinets before. So they just advertise that you can quick turnaround, cheaper shipping because they're not shipping a full cabinet. So it's supposed to, help the consumers, with lower cost and quicker turnaround.
I thought the outdoor kitchen space was ready to pop a few years ago with the well-priced offerings from both Grilla and Charbroil, and yet here we are in the almost middle of 2025. All this time later, no one talking about their great outdoor cooking shelves fridges and other stuff. Why did this fail to launch?
I think it's the overall housing market, right? I think their outdoor kitchen sales are dependent on cheap access to credit and also housing starts, which have been at historic lows for years. And you get brands like Middleby, which, yeah, they have like Masterbuilt, Char Griller, and Kamado Joe, but they also have like Viking and, some of those other premium ranges that you build into outdoor kitchens. And every quarter, I feel like they're like, we think we're at the bottom of the housing starts and things are going to be picking up. But like that's the story every single quarter, and then something else happens. So I think that there will be a turnaround there, and a lot of people will get into outdoor kitchens, like with those cheaper offerings and the modular designs. But it's whenever the economy kind of turns around, and we're stuck in that cycle right now.
Any great story you're working on that we should be looking for in the next couple of weeks?
Let me think. I have more grill reviews coming. I just got a Coyote pellet grill today shipped, so I'm eager to unpack that over the weekend and see how that is, because it looks really nice. I saw
you got to put that together.
Expo. I don't think so. I haven't opened the box, but it's like a refrigerator size box, that weighs like 400 pounds. So yeah. I think I just have to open it up and it'll be ready to go. But I'm excited to try it out. They actually just launched new products too. They're like Gen 3 line, which look really nice and felt nice at the expo. So
we'll look forward to that. You can read it over cookoutnews.com. You can see Wes right here every month, third Tuesday, 35 past the first hour. Wes, always appreciate the time, and we'll see you in June.
Yep. Thanks, Greg.
You got it. Our pal Wes Wright. Also on social at Cookout News, if you care to follow him there as well. So be on the lookout for the new review when he gets it up and running of the Coyote. I think I was at the HPB Expo when Coyote originally came out. Took a handful of years off, and then was most recently in the one in Louisville a couple of years ago, because that's close to me. They were there again, coming out with new stuff, and then back again this year with new stuff. Great. Also good to hear about the Green Mountain Grill Ledge Prime 2.0. Of course, I'm a big fan of Green Mountain Grills. Yep. Jason Baker and the gang out there making great stuff. And I will stand by my declaration that the best thing in the griddle market, and perhaps live fire in general, is Weber's ability to have created the preseason griddle top. If I can remember, I'll probably ask Susie and Triple T about it when we get into the second hour. All right, let's wrap that first hour, by the way. We'll be back right after this.
You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, we thank Wes Wright for joining us last segment. Aunt S is doing it live here this evening.
We'll do it live.
Potted meat, grilled pineapple, large glass of ice, ready for hour number 2. Look at this guy. He's coming back in like a house of fire. Good for you. Potted meat. I was just talking about potted meat with my pal Jason over at the Howard Stern Show. He had some kind of similar, or it might have been a conversation on the show about weird stuff. Oh, yeah. Howard was talking about chipped ham. I was familiar with chipped ham, especially a brand called Isley's Chipped Chopped Ham. Evidently, that's an Ohio, Western Pennsylvania, West Virginia thing. I've had it. It's neither good nor bad. You can eat it and not get sick. I will not eat potted meat, I can tell you that. Not after that event on the plane. Anyway, we are pointing to the second hour. So you go ahead and refresh your libations. We'll be back here shortly. You're listening and watching the BBQ Central Show right here on the Barbecue Central Network. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Briskedor, the barbecue wizard, and you're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Bye-bye!
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me!
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead and he's in the crackle. Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude.
Succulent fish. What?
We ate Susie for wiener.
Oh, listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now.
And just like that, we are into the second hour. It's the Barbecue Central Show, where we talk about only the most important things that are happening in the world of live fire, barbecue, grilling, and or otherwise. This show originating from
Palm City, USA, Cleveland.
If you missed the first hour, you missed a conversation with barbecue icon Stephen Raichlen. And then you missed one with Wes Wright from cookoutnews.com. Never fear, we are recording, of course. The video will auto-archive as soon as this show is over. You can watch it until your heart's delightfulness. Oof. Tough time with words tonight. Or you can get the first hour tomorrow on audio podcast like most of you do. Also, you will get the second hour on Thursday. We'll talk about Friday here in a second. Still to come on this show this evening, Susie, and perhaps a visit from Todd Bulloch as well. Triple T, Taste Head Todd. Say good evening to those of you watching tonight through one of our video streaming platforms. You can go to facebook.com/BBQ Central Show, or you can go to youtube.com/@BBQ Central Show, where we have the YouTube poll question of the week. And we're asking everybody this, including all guests. Did you know that both Memphis in May and Smoke Slam happened this past weekend? And currently 57% of you are saying yes, you knew that both happened this past weekend. 43% of you were saying no, you did not. And again, as I said to Stephen Raichlen, who did not know that either of... Wait, Stephen did not.
Andrew, you are
not. No, about Memphis in May and Smoke Slam happened this past week. I was shocked. Wes Wright only knew 50% of those competitions. He didn't realize that those two were on a head-to-head collision course, as they have been for the last 2 years. So 43% of you did not know that either of those took place this past weekend in Memphis. Coming up on the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less this coming Friday, episode 383, taking you back to March 24th of 2016. And this week we feature a gentleman who was a semi-frequent guest on the show when he was at Weber Grills. That being a guy by the name of Kevin Coleman. Back in March of 2016, Weber was trotting out their new Weber Summit Charcoal Grill. It came in a few different variants, one more expensive than the other. Many considered it to be a bit overpriced when it came out, considering what it was. However, that sentiment quickly went away once you realized how different this particular unit was from their traditional kettle-style cookers. However, the most notable part of this launch was Weber going out of their way to say that this Weber Summit Charcoal Grill was not looking to compete in the ceramic grill space at all. There were /are a number of things that could actually go head-to-head when compared to a ceramic cooker, but Weber saying that this was not a ceramic grill killer or slayer or whatever descriptor you want to throw in. Then, of course, a few years later, they changed the name to the Weber Charcoal, from the Weber Charcoal Summit Grill to the Weber Kamado Grill. Oh, because it's not competing in the ceramic grill market, of course. Right. Confusing marketing and branding aside, let's mention the most important fact when it comes to the now Weber Kamado grill, or Weber charcoal Kamado grill, whatever it's called. All the confusion aside, everyone who has ever cooked on it loves it. Very versatile, very fuel efficient, very easy to control temp. In fact, many people say that this grill specifically is the one that they would take to, with them if they were stranded on an island and they could only bring one cooker with them for the rest of their days on a stranded island. Which is always a weird question to ask because, like, what are you cooking when you're alone on that island? Especially a guy like me. I mean, you think I'm going to be hunting? I mean, I'll be dead inside of 2 weeks. But for those much manlier men and women than me who can fend for themselves and would like a vessel to cook, the Weber charcoal Kamado grill is the one that they would be taking with them. And I've never cooked on one, but I would probably take that one with me as well. It's very big. You can do a lot of high heat. You can do a lot of low and slow. Lance Owens, barbecue realtor to the stars in Kona, Hawaii right now, saying that that would be the grill he would take with him. Now, Lance, in a little bit different scenario, he happens to be in paradise. When you're in paradise, you have a Weber charcoal Kamado, of course. That's what paradise happens, and that's what it gives you. But even if not, he's taking it with him. Don't forget, if you want to hear a guest or a segment that you feel has been lost in the archives these many years, you can email John, let him know you would like to hear. John, Jon, at thebbqcentralshow.com. That's Jon at thebbqcentralshow.com. All right, we're going to get out a little early here. Susie and Todd have been waiting what appears to be an incredibly long time. We'll have to talk about that right off the rip. But before we do that, we will make them wait a few moments as we talk about Big Papa Smokers, who is celebrating 15 years of being in the barbecue and grilling business, helping both backyard warriors and competition pros bring home the grand championship. Whether you're prepping for your next comp or just firing up the grill for spring or summer or a backyard barbecue, Big Papa Smokers award-winning rubs are there to help you out. Flavors like Sweet Money, competition brisket and steak, cash cow, cattle prod have the bold flavors to take your barbecue to the next level. And for a limited time, they have brought back a fan favorite, Cucaracha. Gives you that little extra kick you've been craving. Barbecue Central Show listeners, this one's for you. You can now use promo code BBQ Central 25. That's the letters BBQ Central and the numerals 25 all together at checkout for free shipping. Now through June 30th. So you got just about a month left. Take advantage of saving. Visit BigPapaSmokers.com. Stock up now. BBQ Central 25. That's BBQ Central 25 for free ground shipping. Some exclusions apply. Our friends over at BigPapaSmokers.com. In fact, I talked to Sterling a couple days ago. Not walking yet, but getting close. That guy is determined. Good for you, Sterling. The microphone stand right here just scared the S out of me. Thought it was a human. Whoa. All right. Susie and Todd next.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
All right, welcome back. Leading off the second hour tonight is the creator of the Hey Grill Hey brand. You might know her as Susie Bulloch joining the show. Hey, Susie, and look at that. There's a appearance with Triple T is here as well. Taste, test. Todd, so happy to have you guys here as we get ready to venture from spring into the summer. We got Memorial Day coming up that we'll talk about here in just a second as well. But before we do all that nonsense, we have a YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody. Susie, you first. Todd, don't listen because I don't want her to color your answer. Did you know that Memphis in May and Smoke Slam happened this past weekend?
Yes.
Yes, sorry. Todd, did you know that Memphis in May and Smoke Slam happened this past weekend?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I had giant FOMO too.
We had major FOMO. So many of our friends were there cooking, and we did not make it. This is the first year we haven't been out to Memphis in
years.
Probably 5 years. So we were sad to miss.
I thought you didn't go last year.
We did go last
Oh,
year.
I
Todd
did.
went last year.
Oh, right.
One or the other of us has been there for, the last 5 years, I think.
So this was a big Memphis in May because this is the second time in 3 years that barbecue ribs not only obviously won a category because I have to, but they won the overall world grand championships. Heath Riles this time, who has been ever so close 3 out of the last 5 years finaling in ribs. But to push over that threshold, big deal for him in many different respects, trying to land a segment with him at some point. But as somebody who's been around a Heath Riles, like, what can you tell us from a fan standpoint?
He deserves it so much. I don't know if anybody practices more or works harder than Heath Riles. I think he told Todd, how many racks of ribs did he cook in practice?
I might have been embellishing. He told me over 200 racks of ribs to practice. And then he cooks so many the day of the comp so he can get a perfect and identical one. It's the way he's dialed in.
He pulls like 3 ribs out of each rack of ribs for his box.
Yeah.
So he has a massive investment financially to even just test and prepare for the competition, and then getting out there and all this stuff it's a massive cost for people to actually go compete at Memphis in May. So anyway, we're super excited for him. He totally deserves it. He just is the best. We love Heath.
What do you think why do you think that prior to the last 2 out of 3 years, there was like a 20, 21, 22 year gap between the last ribs win? It was an incredible gap of time. Do you have any thought on why ribs just weren't winning? I mean, I like whole hog and shoulder like the next guy, but I mean, pound for pound, I think I'm ribs guy over everything else.
I think I would prefer to eat ribs too. And I don't actually know the answer to this, but my guess, and again, it probably comes down to judging and scores, and there's probably a lot there, right? But whole hog and shoulder, the way that Memphis does it is different than any other organizational body in barbecue. And so I think that's kind of what they've come to be known for more than anything, is the whole hog presentation or that whole giant shoulder presentation. Ribs, I feel like, is maybe a little bit more commonplace across KCBS, all the other, governing bodies. So maybe it has to do with the fact that it's just kind of that, it feels very Memphis in May when you think whole hog or that whole giant shoulder. I don't know.
I think you look at the teams, if I mention like Myron and Melissa Cookston and the Shed that have won it.
Tuffy, Chris Lilly.
Yeah, multiple. No, for whole hog specifically. Oh, Like these guys put on a show. Like if you go watch Myron present or the Shed present, like it's an event. Like it's and the whole hog is just such a show to put on that I think it just kind of took over for a while. It's like that was the star of the show,
Yeah.
Yep. Memorial Day coming up this coming Monday. Most popular Hey Grill Hey Memorial Day recipe that you're seeing on the website.
Speaking of ribs, our rib rub is incredibly popular. If you search rib rub on Google, I think we might be in the top spot, but I think a lot of people are wanting to do ribs this year. It's a really great kind of brown sugar based rub, but it has a couple interesting things in it that make it, I think, a little bit more of a standout instead of just like your traditional brown sugar based sweet rub. So it's really unique for ribs, really delicious. Ton of people surprisingly looking up brisket. It's been trending down recently. So I'm happy to see brisket coming back. That's great. We saw, a big spike during COVID, and then it dropped for like 2 or 3 years. We're just not as many people. I think probably economically, it's a higher price, cut.
Thanks, Obama.
Sorry. To everything. That's not political. Please don't send me messages. And then crispy chicken wings, crispy smoked chicken wings. That's always kind of a top player for us, but we usually see that one trend more around like football tailgating season. We see it for New Year's because it's a great finger appetizer party food. And then we see it again for the Super Bowl. And then it kind of falls off through the summer. I'm really surprised to see my crispy chicken wing recipe sparking a lot of interest for Memorial Day.
Because I am an elite multitasker, I Googled rib rub, and off to the left there's 2 sponsored ones. There's a Heath Riles, there's an Amazon.com, but as you mentioned, unsponsored, you're right there at the top.
Can we talk about 202 reviews and 4.9 stars?
Yeah,
yes, let's, because, you're talking to a guy that has no idea of, like, what that actually means from
we paid for every one of those reviews.
Thank God.
That's both illegal and unethical.
Truth Teller Todd, Triple T.
Yeah.
Truth Teller Todd. Good for you.
I'm kidding.
He's just here he likes to drive up the ire.
He's engagement farming. That's what we call it here.
Oh my gosh.
Rage
bait.
Yes. Never to see Todd again, unfortunately. I'm sure. So getting 200 reviews, 4.9 stars. So, I get 4.9 as a 10th away from 5. Come back over here, Todd. So, like, as the business owners and the people that have the stake in the company, obviously you have employees as well who want to see everything do good. But, this is your face, your brand, your name. What does that mean to have that many and that high of a ranking?
I love it so much. Okay, so the ranking itself is great. The fact that 200 people loved it enough to come back and leave a review. You know this with Google. Not everybody's coming back to leave a positive review. If they like something, generally they're louder about it than if, or they dislike something, they're louder about that than if they like it.
Yep.
So when we have recipes like that do well and that are positively received, it's really cool. But one thing that we think about a lot, and why I love the review system and the comment system on our website, is people come back and tell us stories. And it's not just, hey, this was delicious. It's, hey, this was delicious. I cooked 12 rackets of ribs for my daughter's graduation party. Everybody was asking for the recipe. It was unbelievable. I served 50 people. We're going to be using this recipe forever. You're part of the family lore. And so to have that, I was talking about this with my 13-year-old yesterday. He was laughing because a few of his teachers had cooked Hey Grill Hey recipes, and he thought that was like kind of funny. For a middle schooler, like that's kind of like, oh, my mom, like it's not thrilling. You know what I mean?
Is it not?
Yeah, my mom. I don't know. I think they've grown up with it, so it's probably not as exciting to them, maybe. Do you know what I mean? It's just like,
no,
yeah, that's what my mom
honest
does
to God,
for work.
My kids talk about my dad has a barbecue podcast like it's the coolest effing thing. And I'm like, you do tell them that?
Like,
they love it.
Like if their teacher was like, hey, your dad does my taxes, the kid would be like, okay. Like, I think that's what it's like at this point for our kids. Because that's all we've done. That's our job. That's our business. That's our lives. So we were talking about that with our 13-year-old because he brought up that some of his teachers had cooked some of the recipes and followed us. And I was like, yeah, that is pretty cool actually. But what's really cool is this. And we showed him some comments from people that had cooked some of our recipes at like an end of life celebration for family members. And like I said, graduation parties are happening right now. Weddings, we're coming up on wedding season, and to be able to be a tiny little part, right? Because I'm not the one cooking the food. You're cooking the food. This is your accomplishment. But to be this tiny little piece of an event like that and a family memory like that, it makes so much of what we do worth it. It's this little touch point across the internet. It's this little touch point from my family and my backyard and my recipes and what I love and what I care about on your table. I really can't think too deep about it or I get like emotional. But it's so cool. We have been, if we think about it that way, my recipes have been in tens, hundreds of millions of homes.
Yeah.
it's the coolest thing that I ever could have imagined in my whole life. It's like I was able to be a part of feeding and being a part of these people's family memories.
Yep.
It's so cool. So 202 reviews, 4.9 stars is amazing. I'm so glad that you liked the recipe, but holy cow, think of all the families that fed.
Todd, from a business perspective, when you're talking to your kids, you guys don't strike me as the couple that's going to be like, hey, one of you is going to take over Hey Grill Hey. So the better question is, has anybody showed any interest either on a business side or a recipe creation side at this point where you would at least have a glimmer that there could be somebody you're turning this empire over to?
The answer to the empire turning over is absolutely not. None of them want anything to do with it.
But young kids still.
I know.
Yeah.
They're still pretty young.
They're getting a front seat glance at watching this lady run her business and what she's doing. And it's just been, I think, the most beneficial thing as parents that we could have ever done for them, to be honest.
Right.
For us, work and family and business and life and fun is all very tied together. Like we do for a living what most people do for a hobby or for a weekend activity or for a fun event. Like that's our livelihood. And so our kids have a really interesting way of looking at the world. It'll be really fascinating to see when they graduate high school, like, are they going to go to college? Are they going to try and major in something? Are they interested in a career? Are they interested in a profession? I think all of our kids tend to right now lean a little bit entrepreneurial and want to do things outside of the traditional business scope. And I can't say that I blame them because, this is what they grew up with. So that's kind of what they know.
The cool thing is you tell your kids, you can do anything. You set your mind to it, you can do anything. Like they literally believe it. I was told that as a kid, and I'm like, yeah, I'll just be an accountant for 50 years. There's no way I'm going to be able to be a rock star or whatever. But like they really believe, they've watched her do it. And so they know that it's possible. And so they have that desire to chase, do exactly what they want to do. It's awesome.
When my kid was 10 and told me that he wanted to be a famous YouTuber and video game designer, I couldn't tell him, like, no, get a real job. Like, right. I cook barbecue on the internet for a living. What am I going to say? I'm going to say, no, you can't have a non-traditional career. So our kids really do have an interesting perception professionally about what they want to do. I think all of them love the idea of being entrepreneurial and doing work that aligns with their passions and their interests. So I don't think any of their passions or interests right now are barbecue necessarily. But it will be really fun to watch them kind of do their own thing.
All right. Well, I appreciate the inside look there and getting a little get to know you time in that regard. So let's say a little bit of business. Why not? Last time you guys were on the show, you hinted that there was a new product on the way, but didn't give any real detail. And now 5 or 6 months later, we have the Hey Grill Hey Pitmaster gloves on the market. And from a few folks that I know who have them, they are some of the best of those gloves on the market. So where do you see the opportunity in the market to go ahead and bring your own for sale?
This was mostly Todd, actually. I luckily have built the platform and kind of the brand. Todd has been the guru. We've talked about this before, but actually bringing our products to market, bringing the rubs and sauces to market, he's been the mastermind organizationally to make all of that happen. And that was also true with the gloves. So you can tell them how the gloves happened.
Yeah, I found my first purchase of these was exactly like 5 years ago. I bought like every glove that existed on the market. For some of them were even dealing with like chemicals.
It was, he bought every barbecue glove that existed that we could find, every style, every type, every brand. But he also bought gardening gloves. He bought welding gloves. He bought like ranching gloves and chemical gloves and commercial kitchen dishwashing gloves, like any glove that was out there, because we were so dissatisfied with what the barbecue world kind of had to offer.
For specifically handling hot meat, right? Like, and being able to have dexterity to pull chunks of fat off and shred and slice, like, there are barbecue gloves out there that do what they need to do, right? But these ones are specifically just for handling hot meat. So you don't have to wear the the cotton glove with the nitrile over it anymore. These are reusable. Just wash them like you're washing your hands. But I can tell you, I spent a lot of time calling factories that made. I looked up the makers of these gloves and called them all over the world, and most of them just laughed at me when I told them that there was a real market here. But anyway, we eventually found the right partners and got them made, and it was a long journey, and it was very emotional when they got to our warehouse and we were able to sell them. A lot of people supported us in a pre-sale, which was super helpful to get the first order here, because you have to buy a minimum amount, and it's a lot of money. It's a big investment. So the pre-sale was crucial to that. People supporting us in this it's just been amazing. The feedback's been mostly positive, some negative, which we really appreciate. But we don't want it to be all sunshine and rainbows. We want the negative feedback to get better. So it's been really great, and it's been a fun experience. And we hope the main hope is that we can provide a tool that makes things better and easier for people while they're cooking. That's all it is. Because that's what I did, is I wanted this glove so bad that I just made it happen. So.
Brian Cowles in the instant chat saying the gloves are amazing. I never need to wear cotton gloves under my nitrile gloves again, and that would still burn me. So review plus number one here live on the show.
We went through the whole development process, and like Todd said, our initial goal was just that you could grab a 200+ degree pork shoulder off the smoker, a hot rack of ribs, a hot pan of brisket, or a whole chicken, and have the dexterity and the grip that you needed, but also some heat protection, similar to what you would get with a cotton with a nitrile over. What we ended up with was even better. These are double dipped nitrile and a thicker lining than you would get with a classic cotton glove. And we put these through multiple rounds of third-party testing. So in laboratories that tested these to failure, we're over 500 degrees Fahrenheit. So you're not just handling hot meat. You can actually, I use these to get cookie sheets out of the oven when we're baking. We use them to move our cast iron around because you get the grip and the heat protection. And these are also third-party lab tested for food safety, because if you're putting anything on hot meat, you want to make sure that it's going to perform and you're going to be able to eat the food that you're touching. So these actually meet all FDA certifications for food safety, again, like independently lab tested. So it was a long journey, but we had a high wish list of things that we wanted it to do, and they do all of them. So Legacy, the feedback is coming in, and it's been really awesome, and we're super excited. We think there's so much potential for these to continue to grow.
How much for a pair?
$21.99 right now.
That's not bad.
I think it's actually really, really reasonable. And we just placed our second order because we sold so many of them so quickly that we're already reordering. And with the current pricing situation, we are going to have to bring the price up here in a little bit to probably $24.99, I think. But for now, they're $21.99. So
introductory price.
Is that a tariff? Is that a tariff thing?
It's a tariff thing, a shipping thing, and a manufacturing thing.
Yeah. How many do you have to buy at a time?
Minimum is 15,000
pair.
Wow.
Pair. So 30,000 individual gloves.
Yeah. Wow. Is that like a container, or do you share a container with somebody, or what does that look like?
Yeah, it was a shared container, and it was less than I thought it would be. It was 6 full pallets, stacked about maybe 7 to 8 feet high. It wasn't as bad. I was expecting like a whole truck full, and it was just 6 pallets. So it was
But if we can scale it the way that I think we can, hopefully next time it is a full container. That would be super cool.
And these are going to go, so are they online now, or any retailer, brick and mortar, that would carry your rubs or products is also has opportunity to carry the gloves?
It's a slow trickle. So Shields has them.
Shields jumped on and actually ordered them before we even had them in stock.
Yeah.
They said, you know what? We believe in you and your products. We think these are super cool. We think they'll do well. They placed an order before they even landed. So that was super cool.
They're at a handful of small retailers, but mainly online now on our website, heygrillhey.com, and then they're also available on Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon's more, but you don't have to pay shipping.
Yeah.
So
great.
If you're a Prime person.
Any other colors besides the yellow and black, or are we staying with that?
We're sticking with the yellow and black. One of the reasons, this is Hey Grill Hey's primary brand color, but they're also high visibility. And a lot of people, when you're cooking barbecue, we are often cooking overnight. It makes them really easy to spot when you're cooking outdoors or when you're digging around in your grill kit. We have like a couple of drawers. We have a couple of like outdoor rolling kits where we keep all of our tools. So it makes them really easy to spot.
We have two people that have said they're not going to buy it because it's yellow, but I'm not going to change it for two people.
It's also, I got to tell you, they're really easy to spot when our friends cook with them and share videos. You're like, oh, those are the Hey Grill Hey gloves.
Yeah.
Like they stand out and they look really good, and people ask questions about them, which is great. So for now, yellow's our color. Maybe in the future we'll roll out, some different color options, but this is where we're at right now.
Yeah. So my biggest complaint, and it sounds like it was the biggest complaint that, Todd was experiencing, is you had let's call them the dishwashing style hot heat barbecue gloves, but they were always thick at the fingers. There was no dexterity. It was like very Frankenstein working through the butts. And I had always then resorted to the knit gloves that I buy on Amazon, like 1,000 for 8 cents. And then I found a 7 mil nitrile glove that I liked. It's pretty reasonable, but I don't like throwing money away. And every time I put on a nitrile glove, I'm like, putting on 10 cents or 15 cents and then using it for 8 seconds and pitching it in the garbage, and doesn't seem to make sense to me. So knowing that there's this option, which is kind of the best of both worlds, very exciting. Easily spend $21 on that, or $24 or even $30. So
I realize I failed in not sending you a pair, so you've got a pair on the way tomorrow.
Oh, great! Thank you.
What size do you want?
Extra large, I think.
Okay. We usually tell people to line up with the size that you wear in a nitrile glove. That's kind of your closest match.
Yeah.
They are meant to fit really snug, right? So they're a snug fit, so you have the dexterity, and you still have some really nice grip. But if you're kind of in between sizes or you're worried, we were like, just size up. But if you're an XL and a nitrile, you'll probably be great.
Yeah, I have exceptionally big hands, so I've been extra large long time. I was able to palm a basketball in the 8th grade, if you can believe it or not.
Wow.
Yes. Couldn't do anything else with a basketball, but I could palm it. Look, before I let you go, a year-ish or so ago, we're at the ThermoWorks event. I don't know if you remember that or not. And while we were luxuriating at the Owens Mountainside Mansion Resort, you had mentioned that you were done with a book. You weren't sure if you were going to get it over the goal line. You asked me to berate you publicly until you did. Luckily, that didn't have to happen, and you got it over the goal line. So, long way to ask, like, where are we in a book process at this point?
90%. We're in final stages of editing, making sure that we have all the layout, formatting, and photos that we want inside the book itself. The cover's design.
We're shooting some photos next week, right?
Last photos. Yeah, we have a couple last photos that we're knocking out, and then it's going to print. Probably our goal is to have it sent to print in June. And then we're anticipating an arrival of like October. So we're hoping to launch before Christmas this year.
Really?
Yeah, really, this year. It's happening.
Is that dangerous to launch it? Well, I guess that would be gift-giving season, right? The Hey Grill Hey gift of the year.
Yeah.
It'll be like a soft launch.
We're self-publishing, so we're going to launch leading up to Christmas and give people opportunity that want it to get it. And then we'll really do a big push for it kind of spring of 2026.
Yeah.
So
very exciting.
I know. I'm also very excited. I've been working. That's been probably 90% of my work time the last month or so has been on the cookbook. So.
All right. Last question before I let you go. Appreciate the time. Outside of the country, what is the number one? I've asked this question terribly. Allow me to start over again. I'm so embarrassed. Oh my God. Outside of this country, what is number one on the list to travel to and eat through, Susie?
Japan.
Japan.
You've never even been there.
It's number one on the list.
Oh,
right.
You meant
I thought you meant to go to, or where have I been?
No. Number one on your list to go to and eat through.
Yes. Japan is number one on my list to go to.
All right.
Even though we've never been there.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that can be number one.
That's where I want to go next and eat.
Todd,
Cool.
number one on your list to go to and eat through out of the country.
Like that I've been to or want to
No,
go to?
just wherever you want to go. Number one on the list.
Yeah, I
The
did it
bucket
right.
list of food.
Okay.
Bucket list.
Todd
Italy.
Todd is determined that I was not asking this question right, number one. And number 1A, that Susie was answering it wrong. Todd, know your role. You got to
I
go.
felt fine about it.
You still got to live
I
with
just
her
wanted
tonight.
to make sure. I wasn't trying to correct. I just want to make sure. Mine's Italy. I'm a big gluten fan, so I want to go eat all the noodles.
Yeah, I love gluten long time. Man,
Also,
man.
this is a hard question because now I'm like, oh no, I want to go to Thailand, or oh no, I want to go to India,
Korea,
or oh no, yeah, we have a lot of places to go eat. So many places.
No,
to go
ask
eat.
me where I want to go outside of the country. Oh, wait, I
Where
can
do you
answer
wanna
that.
go?
I don't want to go out of the country. I don't. You go. I'll live through you vicariously and hear all your stories. I'll stay right
just
here
send
where
you
it's safe.
pictures of everything we
Please. Yes, that's it. Send me daily vlogs of your own,
Okay.
hot takes on food. Hot takes with
Perfect.
Todd and Susie eating the
Yes,
globe. That'll
that's
be
the
great.
second. That's the next business when Hey Grill Hey falls
Yeah.
apart because none of our kids want it. You'll just
Food
get
travel.
old people eating food. That's our retirement plan.
That's my favorite. I love it.
I
we
feel
got
like I should lock down that Instagram handle right now. Actually,
Please.
old people eating food. I feel like that's
Yeah.
a great round 2 for us.
Yeah, at old people eating food. I'll be your first subscriber, so let me know secretly when you get it locked down.
Thank
and
you. I will.
I'll
Someone's
subscribe.
gonna go get it and try to charge us.
I know.
Dang it.
Yeah. Hurry. Have one of
I'm
those
doing
kids
it right
do
now.
it. Have one of those kids. All right.
Ah!
Grab it. We'll confirm next time when we see you. We're talking with Susie Bulloch and Todd Bulloch at Hey Grill Hey on social, heygrillhey.com, the website. Guys, thanks so much for coming on, and we'll talk to you again in a couple months.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Greg.
There they are. Don't you dare take that handle from them. You punks. Let them secure the handle, and away they go. I don't even remember what it was. God, I told somebody else the other day. I hear 40%, 45% of the show at old people eating food, I think it was. Don't anybody take that. Let them take that. And then let me be the first subscriber. Don't ruin this for me. We're doing it live.
We'll do it live.
Right, Bill? Anyway. Hey, are you tired of diets that make you choose between good food and real results? Well, you don't have to anymore. David McDowell has cracked the code. His personalized fat loss coaching for barbecue lovers lets you eat food that you love, like ribs, brisket, and wings, and you can still lose weight, get lean, and feel amazing. Now, this isn't some fad. It's a proven system that has included a barbecue-friendly meal plan, tailored health strategies, weekly check-ins, so you're never guessing, never alone, never forced to give up what you love. And if you want to be part of something bigger, to surround yourself with like-minded barbecue lovers who are dropping weight, getting stronger, and staying motivated, then online, the Barbecue Diet Group is where you need to be. Now, here's the deal. You can keep struggling on your own, or you can plug into a system that works. Join now, get exclusive access to expert coaching, real-world strategies, and a support crew that won't let you fail. Go to school.com/BBQ, and school is spelled SKOOL. School.com/BBQ right now and take the first step, because you can have your barbecue and you can have your dream body, but you got to take action. I have more on that coming up. Stick around. Be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Craig Rimpey.
Hey, we thank. I mean, it is a struggle with the words tonight. There's no doubt about it. We thank Susie and Todd Bulloch from Hey Grill Hey for joining us last segment. You know, for 17 years, Green Mountain Grills has brought the smoke to the competition scene and backyards all over the world. The Venturi-style Firebox delivers the cleanest 150-degree smoke in the pellet grain. Prime 2.0 grill blends proven technology with the technology of the future. Wi-Fi, of course, accessories out the wazoo, and that side burner, which is kick-ass. Check out the new 2.0 Green Mountain Grill at greenmountaingrills.com. I'm trying to figure out where I want to start tonight. Last week, I complained, not ad nauseum, but almost, with how Sterling Ball didn't get into the Barbecue Hall of Fame. And then I dropped a little nugget for you. Said, hey, by the way, did you notice this year has been a little bit different as it relates to the Hall of Fame than it has over the last 6 or 7 years or however long it's been? Or what do you mean? Well, we didn't do a reveal of the top 10 finalists on this show for the first time in 5 or 7 years. And then subsequently, we will not do a full Barbecue Hall of Fame reveal like we've done over the last 5 or 7 years. Now, the ego is robust. The ego is made of stainless steel, 304 machine grade, marine grade stainless. So let's not worry about that. But being the businessman that I am here to build relationship, to give value, to be of service. So when something happens that disrupts an ongoing relationship that I've had, where I felt like I've certainly kept up my end of the bargain, done a lot of good things in support of the Hall of Fame and specifically the American Royal, for them to ditch this week or this year and zero heads up. Like, I want to know. That's the sales guy in me. I can accept that we are broken up at this point. Done it a number of times in business. Sometimes I just know in advance we're doing business now. There's probably going to be a time when we might not do business. Here's why. And when those metrics are hit, I'm usually right. We don't. But a lot of times we'll come back together, what have you. No money exchanging hands here. This is just relationship building with the American Royal and the Hall of Fame. And having had so many years in to then all of a sudden get no heads up, only seeing that the list of finalists had been already sent out and announced. I was a little surprised, a little shocked, wondered why. I reached back out to the contact at the Hall of Fame and said, hey, wanted to reach out to see if you were still planning to do the finalist announcement and then the actual class of 25. And then I got a reply back many hours later. I was waiting to hear back from our marketing team to confirm a few details. Since the Hall of Fame is an American Royal entity, all official news will come directly from the American Royal first. We're happy to continue our podcast partnership following the official press release and social media announcement. I hope that clarifies things. And I wrote back, the question is why? Why did we stop doing the reveals on the show? Like, I get that the American Royal is the entity. They want to take control of that. They think that was a better idea than doing it live.
We'll do it live
on the show. Not only one time, but 2 times during the month and 2 successive weeks doing it live.
We'll do it live.
Yes, Bill, we'll do it live. I'm going to disagree on that. Now, that was sent 10 hours ago, wondering why the reveals stopped. Look, you want to take it back over. You don't think it was fun. You weren't finding value of it. I'm only left to try and come up with reasons why on my own. Nobody wants me to come up with reasons on my own. If I feel I'm giving a superior service, If I feel like I am being of service, I am building value, I am promoting, bringing spotlights to your particular situation, then yes, of course I want to know why all of a sudden we're not doing it. And why no heads up? Why not, hey, we've enjoyed, give me the Dear John letter. We've enjoyed our time together. We're going to move in a different direction. I have sponsors lead the show all the time. Hey, it's been great. We're going to take these dollars and put them in a couple other places just to test the waters. Good chance we could be back. A lot of times they do come back. But I fear had I not reached out, there would be no communication whatsoever. So if you don't like me, then just tell me you don't like me. Okay. But don't let sales guy kick in on me, because unless you tell me no, I'm not stopping. We just go and we go and we go until we get an answer. Many different ways, many different tactics, many different ways of approaching, wording, all that fun stuff. Like, I'll get it out of you. I'm just shocked that there was no heads up and no reason as to why we stopped doing the live reveals on the show, as we had done the past 5, 6, or 7 years or whatever it is, starting all the way back with Emily Park. I'm not saying I got the Hall of Fame on track and where it is today, but you know what? Next week, if I get an update, I will pass it along on why we stopped. Unless you don't care. Let me know during the course of the week. If you don't care, I don't care. How about that? I'll just know all by myself and I won't share it. Now, changing tunes completely. And on the heels of the David McDowell read for Barbecue School and being lean and mean and healthy and blah, blah, blah. I know a lot of employers probably don't offer this. It's worth your while if you work for at least a medium to large size company. And if you're in a executive level, and that means different things to different companies. Now being the director of sales at Ohio Peterbilt, owned by Ohio Machinery. Evidently, I have achieved an executive level within the company. And who cares about that? I certainly didn't until a handful of months ago. I got an email from the HR lady who said, hey, the executive physical program that we partner with the Cleveland Clinic on is now being extended to the director's level. And I heard my boss talk about having the executive physical for the last 4 or 5 years before they extended it down to the director level, where they're slumming, evidently. You had to be a VP of one of the groups that we own, or above that, so CEO, CFO, HR, VP. If you were VP and up, you were able to sign up or take advantage of a executive physical. So I would say this: if you are in a medium to large size company and you are in some kind of important role, whatever that means, you should ask the HR lady if there is an executive physical program. If there is, you have to sign up for it. If it's even half as good as the one that I went through yesterday at the Cleveland Clinic Foundation downtown main campus, East 105. Shout out to the east side, best side. Show up 6:30 a.m. on a 12-hour fast. Do it in my sleep, literally. I don't even know if I had to go down 3 different hallways. It was all within the same wing of this particular portion of the Cleveland Clinic I was at. First, blood work. A full regimen of blood work done. The likes I've never seen done on a human before, except my wife when she was going through a lot of the cancer battle. Short of that, haven't seen it on anybody. I got the full panel workup times 100. The lady was pulling more blood. I thought I was going to pass out the amount of blood that she was pulling out of me. I'm like, honey, you're going to keep filling those vials up because I feel like I might pass out if you keep going. I wasn't feeling lightheaded. I was just worried I was losing too much blood at a rapid rate. That gets sent off for screening, and then I go and get a chest x-ray, and then I go get a CAT scan, and then they do a whole picture of my heart. They do bone density scan. I did spirometry. I met with a life coach. I met with a nutritionist. We went over my diet, which has been really laid out for me gram by gram by the great David McDowell. Met with exercise physiologist, ultimately culminating the day around 2:30 with a full-blown, I think it's called the Roberts-style stress test, like they're giving professional athletes. And I'm like up on a 80% grade and running at 5 miles an hour, 6 miles an hour, whatever it was. Peaked my heart rate at 235. Now look, I've been on the barbecue diet since mid-January. You would recall I was doing the whole shred down competition with the girls' boyfriends as we went to Florida in March, early March. I continued the training in earnest once we got back, solely for yesterday's executive physical. And then continuing the training over the next couple weeks as Becky and I make it down to the Bahamas beginning of June. Going back to Atlantis and the Cove, where adults only at the pool, please. No punk-ass kids running around doing nonsense. So I've had a number of benchmark dates to hit to stay motivated, to really work it out. And here are the results, gang. In case you were worried. Met with Dr. Sabellos, who's been rated best doctor available in the country. One of the best doctors in the country for many years in a row. I mean, this guy's a gas. I want to be his pal. I want him to be my primary care, but he's the chair of the executive physical department in Cleveland Clinic, so he's got to be some kind of big shot. Oh, the other test they did was they took pictures of my eyes. The fundus, is that what they call it? Everything got checked except my hearing. I know all about the hearing. Eyes got checked, like the reading, eye exam. I got the eye exam, and then the fundus where they flash the light. You can see in your eye. Oh, crazy. So we sat down, and the guy was looking at it. So I met with Dr. Sabalos, somewhere around the 10 o'clock hour initially. And we were looking at my previous blood scores, the LDLs, HDLs, triglycerides, cholesterols, blah, blah, blah. And in 2024, beginning of 2024, there was one set. Then there was another set a year or two before that, I think 2022. So 2022 everything was normal, fine. Beginning of 2024, shit show, to say the least. The doctor's going, like, what's happened here? What happened here? This is drastic. This isn't good. And if we're going to be looking at numbers that are potentially worse than this, you're not leaving here without prescriptions for things, is what I'm saying. So be ready for that. I said, Doc, I think I got it under control. Found my way again. Had a situation for about a year and a half. Took it off from a own health perspective. Ate like shit, didn't work out. Focused on many other things other than my direct proper health. We've circled the wagons back. So I think you're not going to have too much to worry about. I hope, although I am 50, so who knows? And after the stress test, we circle back up around 2:45, Dr. Sabalos, and he said, hey, pal, I got some news for you. You're 50 years old. Your coronary score is that of a 26-year-old. Your resting heart rate is between 45 and 48, elite level. I said, Doc, give it to me straight. Where do I rank in the executive physical standards for you? He said, Greg, I'm not lying when I say that you are easily the most in shape and the most healthy executive physical I have done since the program's inception. I'm elite. I have 9% body fat. 9%. I met with the dietitian, yes, a nutritionist, dietitian, real science. Said, here's what I'm eating, laid it all out. You know me. No variation. Same grams in the morning, same grams in the evening. This is what I'm eating. All the blood came back good. I was I got to take a little calcium supplement because of my osteopenia, like in the lumbar region. That was the worst thing. But the heart's great. 0 plaque in all arteries. Nothing wrong. He gave me the 5-year warranty, or he gave me the 5-year guarantee, no cardiac event, and then the 10-year warranty. The 10-year warranty consists of, because of where I am at in health at the moment, assuming I don't just go like way off the cliff, over the next 10 years, I have less than a 1.4% chance of incurring a cardiac event. I mean, sign me up for the Olympics. I'm elite level, world-class level health right here. If you've ever wanted to see the picture of health, it's right here, hosting the Barbecue Central show, believe it or not. So, very excited to get the news. Wasn't expecting near that kind of achievement or being crowned the best or most healthy or best patient to have gone through the program. But needless to say, this keeps me motivated to go back next year and see if I can keep it up. Even the stress test ladies were like, damn, we're putting you on like highest level and you're just running through it. Good for you. I said, thank you, ladies. I'm trying. I thought we were going to go for like 5 minutes. And they're like, 5 minutes? We doubt you could have made it another 15 seconds. They weren't lying. Like, shit. Now, hold on a damn minute. Look at this. Anthony Parlaman, I've never seen you before on the show or writing in, or maybe I've just inspired you. Joining late and listening from the beginning. Did I catch a crackhead Bob 50-50? Yes, you did. Anthony, you're listening late from the beginning, but just know this. In 2 hours and 50 minutes from now, I am referencing your comment right now at 10:57 p.m. Eastern. 50-50. Good for you, Anthony, a Howard Stern fan. Good for you. You got it right on the nose, pal. And just like that, I think we're going to call it a day and wrap the show because we're getting close to the end here before I run out of time. So rest assured, 9% body fat, resting heart rate somewhere between 45 and 48. I peaked on the stress test at 235, recovered very quickly. No plaque in any artery. The chance of me having a major cardiac event in the next 10 years is less than 1.4%. 5-year guarantee, 10-year warranty. Did I mention 9% body fat? That's right. So I will stay on the barbecue diet if it's all right with you. I will keep running down in the basement, bored out of my mind. It's all right with you. And I don't want to live until I'm 100, but 72 would be fine having all my faculties. Why not? All right, back in the first hour, it was Stephen Raichlen and then Wes Wright. We closed it out with the Todd Bulloch and Susie Bulloch visit. I love it. We have a fourth Tuesday coming up next week. That means embedded correspondence amongst others. So stay tuned for that. So until next Tuesday, I say this. September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. We'll see you back at 9:30 or 9 p.m. Eastern next Tuesday. But until then, I say, Jabba!
Hi, this is Jeff Stone of Grandpa's Pride Barbecue from the Panhandle of Florida, and you are listening to the Barbecue Central Show.